Peace and light, family. I hope that you are well and happy and whole and healthy and all those good things, abundant and great and lovely and loving and loved. It's been a while. It's good seeing y'all and feeling your energy. I love you so much. And we're just gonna hop right into this video, okay? Because I've been noticing that a lot of people are being more drawn to African traditional religions and African spirituality, and I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to feel it. I love the way the misas are growing and the ceremonies is growing and everybody is vibing, and I'm loving seeing folks smudging, especially the young people, Gen Z, like really returning to the root. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And of course, my DMs are filled with questions. So I'm going to be addressing some of those questions in hopefully short videos, because y'all know I could go. So I want to keep the videos a decent length and just get straight to the point. So for this particular video, I want to address one of my most frequently asked questions, which is, Queen, how do I know which African traditional religion is for me? Which should I join? How do I know which one to become a part of? I had a dream that I was wrapped up by Oshun, or I had a dream that I was a priestess. Like, how do I get started? What do I do? How do I know which tradition is for me? So my intention for this video is to clarify the difference between African spirituality and African traditional religion, how to know which religion is for you, and what to do or how to answer the call, how to respond to that. Once you know, what should you do next? Let's get started. So when we speak about spirituality, right, we're speaking about the relationship, and not just the relationship with God or with the highest source, but that relationship with our higher self, our spiritual self, right? So when I speak about spirituality, I'm speaking about practices that we use in order to enhance our relationship with the higher source and our higher self, or our spiritual self. And when we speak about African spirituality, we're speaking about using practices that are rooted from back home, that are rooted from the continent, from the motherland. And those practices vary. And honestly, a lot of practices are rooted back. I ain't gonna get into all of them because I don't feel like arguing with nobody. My granddad used to say, "Oh, I don't feel like arguing with nobody in the comments," okay? But yes, there are so many different practices that go back to the continent, and we utilize those practices in order to enhance our higher self, our higher source. This is my my dog, y'all. This is Salam. Making his YouTube debut. But yes, so we use these various practices in order to enhance our higher self, our higher source. Salam, I'm recording, please, thank you. Like I was saying, so we use these practices in order to enhance our relationship with the higher source, spirit, God, our ancestors, our spirit guide, so on and so forth, and our higher self. That's African spirituality. The difference between spirituality and religion is religion involves a set of prescribed practices. So as I said, with spirituality, we're taking a variety of different practices and using those practices to enhance our spiritual relationship. Now, with religion, it's a set of prescribed practices. So for a specific religion, just like Christianity or Islam or any other religion, there are maybe certain ways that you pray. There may be certain things that you have to say, a certain ceremony that you have to attend on certain days. There may be certain things that you have to refrain from. Just traditional practices that are native to that specific religion. Now, when we speak about African traditional religion, we're speaking about a variety of religions that are native to the continent of Africa, and there are a bunch of them all throughout the continent. And these are age-old religions that date back for centuries and centuries and centuries, and they are usually native to specific countries as well as specific regions within those countries. A few examples of African traditional religions, we'll start with the most popular here in the U.S. The most popular African traditional religion that you find a lot of people gravitating towards is the Yoruba religion, or Ifa, which is native to Nigeria. You have Akan, which is native to Ghana. You have Kemetism from Kemet, which is the area of Egypt to Ethiopia, East Africa area. You have the San religion, which is native to South Africa. You have Dogon. You have so many different African traditional religions. And again, these are religions that are native to the continent of Africa. So we have African spirituality, we have African traditional religion, and for the sake of understanding, I'm going to differentiate between African traditional religion and the African diaspora traditional religions, right? Because there is a difference. African diaspora traditional religions are religions that were created by the diaspora of Africa. So during slavery, or during the slave era, enslaved people were taken from Africa, stolen from Africa, and distributed throughout the world. However, many of them retained their language, they retained their religious practices the best that they could, and create and use what they could in the land that they were left in or taken to, and they did the best that they could to preserve their practices and continue their practices, and kind of created their own religions. And that's what we have Santeria, that's what we have Voodoo, that's what we have Hoodoo for African Americans, Voodoo in Haiti, Santeria in Cuba, you have Candomblé in Brazil. So you have African traditional religions and you have African diaspora traditional religions, which are traditional religions that were created by the African diaspora, and they are still African traditional religions because, again, they were the religions that our ancestors created by preserving those languages, preserving those practices, and doing the best that they could in the land that they were in. So a quick review. You have African spirituality, which is when you use a variety of practices that are rooted in the continent of Africa in order to enhance your spiritual relationship with the higher energy source as well as your higher self. Then you have African traditional religions, which is a variety of religions that are rooted in the continent of Africa for centuries and centuries and centuries. And then you have African diaspora traditional religions, which are religions that were created by the African diaspora. When they were stolen from Africa, they retained their language and a lot of religious practices and used what they could in the land that they were taken to in order to create their own traditional religions, such as Hoodoo, Voodoo, Santeria, Candomblé, and so many other different ADTRs. Okay, so an acronym that you'll see often is ATR, which is African Traditional Religion. And you don't see ADTR. I literally, once again, just for this video, wanted to be clear and differentiate because that differentiation is important. And I'll explain that in this next session where we talk about truths and myths. Now, I want to be very clear and concise with this truths and myths section, okay? This is so important simply because there are so many people who are coming home, right? Coming back to African spirituality and African traditional religion, but they don't know where to start and they really don't even know what they're getting into. So let me help you out a little bit. I feel like it's important to differentiate between African spirituality and African traditional religions because what I'm seeing a lot is people practice African traditional religions without being initiated and calling it African spirituality. And there is a difference, okay? I said in a previous video how, you know, it's sad that people have more respect for Greek fraternities and sororities than they do for African traditional religions. And not to say that you shouldn't respect Greek fraternities and sororities, but the same level, or if not more, observance and respect that you have for them, you should have for what comes from your roots. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't walk up to it if you ain't a Delta. You wouldn't walk up to a Delta with a Delta shirt on and throwing up the Delta symbols and doing a Delta call, right? If you ain't a Q, you wouldn't walk up to a Q, or hopefully you wouldn't be walking around throwing up the hooks and wearing the Q symbols and barking. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with African traditional religions. there is an initiation process that occurs for a lot of these African traditional religions and African diaspora traditional religions. There's an initiation for voodoo. There's an initiation for Santeria. There's an initiation for... And out of respect, I am not going to go into detail about the initiation process for any ATR because it is sacred. The same way you wouldn't walk up to a sorority member or a fraternity member and ask them, what did you do when you was online? What was your process of being online? What did they do to y'all? What was your history? What did y'all learn? You wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So oftentimes I get a lot of people come up to me and they like, so, oh, when you was initiated, what did you do? So what happened? So how much did you pay? Did you pay? What did you say? And I'm like, would you walk up to a fraternity member or a sorority member and ask them these kind of questions? And if you would, cool. But if they told you, I can't answer that, come on, that's sacred, would you respect it? Probably so. Okay, so out of respect, those things are not to be shared and openly discussed because they are sacred things. And as we know, we do have to keep a lot of things sacred because they are often stolen from us as people of color, as anything from Africa. Don't get me started, okay? See, this is how the videos get long, because then I go. You know what I'm saying? like, but we know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Some things are just meant to be sacred. But the point is, a lot of these traditional religions, you have to be initiated in order to do certain things. Now, does practicing African spirituality and African traditional religion sometimes have some things in common? Absolutely. Again, with African spirituality, you are using practices that are rooted in Africa in order to enhance your spiritual relationship. Now, some of those practices are also used in African traditional religion and come from African traditional religion, like the practice of having an altar, like the practice of putting out offerings for the ancestors and things like that. But again, I can't discuss certain things. I can't discuss certain things, but now what I will say is that some differences you may see is the way that it's done. And certain African traditional religions and African diaspora traditional religions, the way that you put out offerings, what you may say when you put out offerings, it's different. The offerings that you choose to put out is different, may be different. The times that you put them out may be different. The day that you observe certain Orisha or certain saints may be different, okay? So African traditional religions and African diaspora traditional religions are very different from practicing African spirituality because, again, with religion, it's a set of prescribed practices. There are certain languages spoken, certain things said, certain things done, certain practices done in a certain way at a certain time, very disciplined and very prescribed, okay? And those are things that usually you will only know how to do, when to do, and what to do once you are initiated. And even once you are initiated, you are initiated at various levels, right? So a priest or a priestess in a specific religion may do things different than someone who is initiated at I don't want to say a lower level, because of course across traditional religions there's differences, okay? And I don't want to focus specifically on one, but there are levels, you know what I'm saying? And someone who is at a higher level may do different things than someone who is a new initiate. So you can practice African spirituality without disrespecting African traditional religions and African diaspora traditional religions. It's possible to do so. It's kind of what Beyonce said, stay in your lane. Okay, stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? Keep do your yoga, do your altar work and all of that good stuff, but just be very respectful, be very mindful, and just know that there are certain things that you will not know and that you will not be able to do unless you have been through the process. You know what I'm saying? And let's speak about going through the process. How do you know which religion is for you? Now, as I said earlier, there are many different African traditional religions, African diaspora traditional religions, and moving forward, I'm going to stop saying African diaspora traditional religions. Again, I just wanted to differentiate so that you know that there is a difference between religions that come directly from the continent and religions that were created by the African diaspora. Those are also included under the umbrella of ATRs, but again, there is a difference. Now, to know which religion is for you, I advise that you study, 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 study. I always say this, and I said what I said, okay? Study. Study all of the religions, study their history, talk to people who have been living these religions for a long time, practicing these religions for a long time, get their perspective, and a variety of people, not just your homegirl who's Ifa or your homeboy who practices Santeria or whatever. Talk to a variety of people. If you can, if you are capable, go visit the country. Talk to people like, for example, if you're looking into Santeria, go to Cuba right now. It's possible. You know, if you're looking into Akan, take that trip to Ghana, return to Africa, take that trip over there and talk to the people, you know, who are there and currently practicing and you know, that's all they know. I say study, study, study because and this is just real. Religion is religion is religion is religion is religion. Okay? What I've been finding is a lot of people are running toward African traditional religions in order to run away from one of the 5 major religions, you know, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism. So a lot of people are running toward ATR as a way of running away from, especially Christianity, you know, for Black folks. And the reason that they're running from Christianity, they're running from the other traditional religions is because they had some bad experiences, right? And I gotta be honest with y'all. Religion is religion is religion. And that's why I said study the history. There's a lot of beauty in ATRs. ATRs are amazing, but ATRs are also religions. The same way there have been wars in Islam and things like that, and between this sect and that sect, and Sunni versus Shiites and all of this, the denominations of Christianity, a lot of ATRs are the same way. There are ATR beefs, okay? And I'm not going to go in detail because you can do the research for yourself. And this is something that a lot of folks won't talk about. But there have been and currently are ATR beefs. You know, like people who feel like Lukumi is more valid than Santeria. Santeria is more valid than Lukumi, and or this one stole from that one and all that stuff. So there are differences. Women in Christianity not feeling respected. Something I always talk about is, you know, how I remember when I was younger, right? And it was a thing of like in the Baptist church, women couldn't be in the pulpit. Well, in certain ATRs, women are not allowed to be initiated to certain levels of that ATR. So they don't allow women priests, you know, or priestesses. They don't observe women as being capable of holding, okay, so I'm gonna just be real. In Ifa, there are certain Babalawos who will not grant a woman a full hand of Ifa. You get a hand of Kofa, which is basically like a half hand, because they don't believe that women can handle a full hand of Ifa. You know, so there, and this is not every Babalawo, and this is a very old way of thinking, but it's also still practiced by some Babalawos. You know what I'm saying? So as a priestess, you may not be respected going into certain spaces. You may not be allowed to share your gifts in certain spaces because you are a woman. You know, so again, religion is religion is religion. Every religion got their mess. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to run from Christianity and run to ATR as your savior away from mess, because It's mess everywhere you go. Okay, the same way you got snakes in the pulpit, as y'all know about them fake babalawos and stuff that be in your DMs, and some babalawos who are actually babalawos who be scamming folks out of readings in real life and all that stuff. It's mess everywhere. Okay, religion is religion is religion. So again, don't run from one religion because there's mess going on over there just to run into another religion where you may get involved in some mess. I advise that you understand and know what you're getting into before you get into it. See, a lot of people were born into Christianity, so you didn't have a choice. But if you're running to an ATR, you have a choice. You have the power to study these ATRs and know what you are getting into and know how to handle it before you get into it. So that's one thing. Another reason I say study, study, study is because it's not uncommon to see brothers and sisters who get initiated into a certain ATR, and it's usually Ifa or Yoruba. They get initiated and then they realize that, they moved too quickly. They got initiated into Ifa or into Yoruba before they studied voodoo, and they realize that it's really voodoo that's calling them. And then they hop to voodoo. And then they realize they go to Haiti and they love voodoo and they get initiated and all of that. And then next thing you know, they looking at Santeria and they start religion hopping. A lot of times religion hopping occurs when people have not fully studied all the possible religions. So in order to know which one is calling you, you have to study as many as possible and fully study them. Not just like Google Santeria definition. Oh, okay. I mean, really study them. Talk to people who are involved in them and see which one is really calling you, because, I'm not saying that you don't want to move to another ATR if you truly feel called to, but also you want to make sure that you did the work and you moving in the proper direction, and not just in the easy direction, not just in the one that's the most available, not just in the one that's the most popular. And of course, when it comes to knowing which ATR is for you, you can always pray on it. Ask spirit to guide you, ask spirit to show you signs. You can go get a reading, and not just a reading, go get a few readings, go to the mat, go sit at the feet of some elders and some babalawos, some iyas, and have some conversations and ask questions, and just really get some clarity before you just hop straight into initiation. But once you know which one is for you, what should you do next? Once you have found the ATR that is for you, the next step you should take is seek out guidance via an ile or a house, right? Seek a home family, seek godparents. And when I say seek, that doesn't mean that you start Google searching and go around, but you want to start affiliating with people who are a part of this ATR. You want to just kind of sit back and be a baby in this thing, just listen and talk to different people, and what is for you will be for you, and it will come to you. Honestly, you don't have to fight it. You don't have to fight to find godparents. You don't have to fight to find a home or find Ile. It will come to you when you are in the right environment and in the right areas. You know what I'm saying? Practice, get your spiritual self up, enhance your higher self, focused on being a better you, going to your altar, meditating, praying, journaling. Overall, you just want to make sure that you are prepared. Prepare yourself for the journey that could be potentially leading to initiation, and that could be initiation. And then you start the process of initiation. So I hope this helped, family. I hope this gave some clarification on the differences between African spirituality, African traditional religion, African diaspora traditional religions, and the process of how to know if you are called, and a little bit about what to do once you are called. Of course, again, I cannot get into details about initiation and all that good stuff. I can't get into details about that. But you can begin the process. You know what I'm saying? Just be patient. That's my advice. Be patient. This journey is not to be rushed. This is not like the church where you just, you go to one service and then they asked if you want to come to the altar and join. It's not like that. ATRs are definitely not like that. It is a journey. And even once you start the process of initiation, it is a journey, okay? It is a journey. And when I say a journey, I mean it could be months to years of a journey, okay? So take your time, be patient, and really mind your intentions. Why are you doing this? Again, if you are running to ATRs in order to run away from other traditional religions, you might want to check yourself and really be a better version of yourself so you don't get involved in some of the same mess that you may have gotten involved in those other traditional religions. And if you are practicing African spirituality, I definitely advise just being respectful of ATRs, being respectful of ADTRs, being mindful of the questions you asked, of the things that you are doing. Make sure that you are, again, just being respectful. Mind your intentions. If you are looking to join an ATR, study. Go get a reading. Go get several readings from reliable sources. And really, I advise that everyone start with African spirituality. Start with being a better version of you, for you. You know what I'm saying? Start with being a better version of you. I advise that you go into an ATR already having built a higher connection with your higher self, built an elevated connection with your higher self, because you don't want to be dependent on a religion to make you better. You see what I'm saying? It's an enhancement. It's a family, but the spiritual relationship is within self. Okay, so be respectful, focus on self. And again, I advise everybody start with the spiritual relationship with self before joining an ATR. But once you feel called to that ATR, once you have studied the ATRs and you found out which one is for you, definitely start your process of initiation. Be patient. It's worth it, and just take your time and enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, because it is a journey. Okay, it is a journey. I wish you well, family. Much love, much peace, much happiness, joy, and I'll see you soon. Much love.